Everybody, welcome to Mystic's MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. All right, I do apologize. Once again, I'm still getting over my allergies, but I got this from the original source. Their is in the description below. This was posted on ESO forum, so you can check it out there as well. Is a discussion thread, but I want to go ahead and cover this, and I want to give my interpretations of what's going on as a former ESO player, um, and a fan of Elder Scrolls and a person who typically admires Matt Fire or Fear. I come Fear, but I appreciate what Matt and his staff typically bring. But without any further ado, let's get into this. ESO boss says his devs have been killing it. Confirms the studio is working on a new game with a new engine. This is important right here. A new game with a new engine. And I'll be discussing this. Okay, so I'm going to skip a lot of these things, but we're going to get to the interview. I'm going to cover the interview parts. This is what Matt said initially. It took a while to sink in that we're killing it right now because we went through the whole phase where we were responding to the PC launch Outer Scrolls criticism. And then console was huge. But it was so huge that it broke, you know, and I'll be getting into this, whatever, a bunch of stuff at the beginning. Okay, highlighting this word as well. Like we weren't expecting it to be so big. Well, I mean, it's an MMO, which is a great problem to have. I agree, but it was a problem. Yes. And then after that, it was like, we're having this huge audience. How do we make enough content to keep everyone engaged? And that led to the realization that you can't. And it led to one Tamriel update, which opened up the world so anyone can play with anyone and can do anything at any time, which is great. I love one Tamriel update, even though it was bugged as fuck. But it was a step in the direction where ESO is currently. Okay. Now, and that led to, okay, now we have to do this chapter thing every year to kind of give out a message to the community that this is what's to be expected from us. Like every June, check out what we're doing because it's going to be big. Now, it's check out what we're doing, and oh, by the way, the rest of the year is telling the same story. We're constantly evolving, and I agree with that. I think it's probably wasn't until after Morrowind launch that we were like, yeah, wow, we've had 3 good years, you know, because we're working on everything behind the scenes, not getting out of the office a whole lot, and takes a while to sink in sometimes. And I agree, these men and women are very committed in their positions, and they do an exceptional job in the content. Okay. Then there was Fear also confirmed that ZeniMax Online is indeed working on a new game with a new engine, as some had surmised by looking at job applications on the studio's official website. That said, excuse me, they'll support ESL for a long time still. Yeah, not a lot of people have picked up on this, but if you look at our job site, you'll see that we are accepting applications for people to work on a new engine. On a new engine, okay, software engineers for a new AAA game. So yes, we have ideas, but we're committed to ESO for as long as it takes. Okay, so they haven't started development of the new game as I'm taking it. So, but they're working on creating the new engine. Now, let me kind of give you guys a background of what has happened. Typically, you secure an engine, right? Um, when you're in development. Now, a lot of people in the last, I don't know, I want to say the year and a half, 2 years, have grossly misinformed people of what engines do, right? Like, um, Schreider over there, fucking Kotaku, literally said an engine's just a bunch of tools. And it's like, yes, engines have tool sets in them, but they resolve, they're compilers. They compile data and they resolve data, right? That's what an engine is. It's self explanatory within its definition. It makes it run, right? Try to put a transmission in a car without an engine. Where are you going? Nowhere. You're not going anywhere, right? It's not working. It's not going to run. Why? Because you don't have the engine. Okay, so that's what an engine is. Okay, yes, you need the alternator on the engine. That's a tool, right? It's like software. Yes, you have the carburetor. Yes, you have all these parts associated with the engine, but without the engine itself, you can't attach any of the parts. That's what an engine is. Okay, that's what a software engine is. Okay, so just for clarification purposes. Now, fucking Jason Schreier, fucking idiot. He's good, but he's an idiot. So, anyways, it was grossly misinterpreted that that's what engines are, nothing but tools. Yeah, it's wrong. It has to resolve code. So, anyways, in Elder Scrolls case, they acquired the Hero engine and used Havoc as midware, right? And then they formulated the rest of the engine. So they only took parts of Hero and customized an engine around the base elements of what the Hero engine is. They needed more. Hero wasn't enough to substantiate Elder Scrolls. And given the fact that they were going to use a mega server, so a lot of this was new, and that's to be anticipated that there were going to be hiccups along the way. So without any doubt, without it's actually I'm going to compliment them in pulling off quite a feat without an established, you know, reliable engine. But that's been the bane of their existence. That's also been the bane of Outer Scrolls, is because it wasn't done properly right the first time. And it's a problem why you have a lot of problems in the net code. You have a lot of problems in resolution. You have a lot of problems in the physics and the rendering. You have a lot of these hiccups that are associated because it reverts back to how the engine was initially conceived or thrown together. Literally, it was thrown together. So I do also want to commend Matt and the team for at least recognizing the problems that they faced with Elder Scrolls and taking the appropriated steps to now build on a new engine for this new game because they do have talented men and women working at their company. And I've said it before, ZeniMax Online Studio isn't going anywhere for at least another 20 years because they do have a presence in the industry. So, with that being said, now Bethesda, I think Bethesda will always be their little dragging point now with all the problems it's been having as of late, um, which could be a hinder for the company. That's a whole nother speculation. But regardless, it's a confirmation that oh yes we need it. We're building a new engine. Okay, so this is good. This is actually, I want to actually say this is a great thing. But once again, it confirms a lot of the speculations and the problems associated with what? Elder Scrolls Online. So, and I loved Elder Scrolls. I feel like the devs bring a ton of great things to the game. But one of its problems and why it gets criticized so much is due to the piss poor performance that it doesn't yield in comparison to the other games in the market as far as performance and resolution. And Elder Scrolls could have been the best ever as far as what we see for the standard, but unfortunately it isn't. It's been held back due to its own flaws. And at least Matt and team are saying we're not going to repeat these mistakes. we're going to move forward. We're getting a new engine, and we're going to have a new MMO that is going to be better performing. And I want to applaud that. I want to actually commend. This is why I like Matt. To me, is I've always appreciated what Matt's brought to the industry. He's never been afraid to try new things, to push innovation. Um, so you know, I've and when they brought on Brian Wheeler, once again another legend in the industry, onto the team. You Brian's going to do what he can with what he has. Um, that's not to say that everything will be resolved, but once again, the man's a legend. Um, so I'm not saying the Elder Scrolls is ever going to get its fix. I hope that someday they'll be able to find these problems and resolve them, but who knows? I can't speculate that, and I'm not going to. So I'm just trying to say we have a new engine that's been confirmed for the new MMO, and that's been done by Matt. I want to say, hey, cool deal, excellent. I hope that in the future that other companies take this note. Now, the question of it is now it's going to become why not use existing engines that are more reliable that are already on the available market, like Unreal Engine, the Unreal Engine. Now we already have Unreal Engine 4, but by the time gets processed, we can anticipate, an adaptation to at least some of the tool sets and technology where Unreal 5 will become precedented within the next, I want to say, 3 years. We'll see a new adaptation of the Unreal Engine. Um, but regardless, it costs them money, right? So the Unreal Engine doesn't cost initially anything to license, but it costs residual income, meaning the more money they make, the more royalties they have to spend out for leasing the engine. And most AAA studio or AAA publishers want to do what? They don't want to pay out that 5 or 10% in leasing an engine. Instead, they would rather spend millions, and do not get this twisted, millions in developing their own engine to retain a bigger portion of the profit down the road. This is another problem we see with Bethesda trying to hold on to the creation engine in development because it costs so much money to either lease an engine or to build a new engine. Now, E6 is going to be interesting because they've stated that they're planning on continuing with the creation engine, but given that the recent developments with the Fallout 76 disaster, can we anticipate some of these additional problems faced with the E6 launch? I hope not. I'm an Elder Scrolls fan, but I've never played an Elder Scrolls game without bugs or major issues. So this is one of these concerns. Engines are a very intricate part of how games are resolved, how effective the coding is. So, and software engineers, that's what a software engineer does. Software engineer is a coder, right? They're not a developer. They write code. Okay. So, there you guys have it. It's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I'm very happy with this announcement. So, I'm not actually degrading this. I'm actually for it. I'm actually giving thumbs up because this needs to happen. These things need to take place for ZeniMax, because if ZeniMax can get a reliable engine put together for their new title, for their new MMO, they can take that engine and apply it to future products that they're also going to be developing. And that's what we see with Epic and the Unreal Engine. Epic's big money source, even though Fortnite has done well, has always been the Unreal Engine. So, and their software development. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm actually hopeful that ZeniMax actually gets a solid engine put together that will reflect their future products. So there you guys have it. As far as Elder Scrolls, I don't know. And it's kind of weird because look at this Final Fantasy 14 ad banner on this. It's can someone say irony at this moment? Number one MMO currently in 2019. Future FYI, current FYI, and future FYI reference. Um, so there you guys. That's ironic. Once again, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. Thank you guys for watching, and once again, and always, have a nice day.